Uh,
Now live.
so can we begin?
Yes, yes, please.
Just give me a moment. Yeah. Yes, Vijay Borati has also joined us. Yeah. Friends, sorry about this link issue. I think we had some problems with the link to the film. I hope finally you were able to get the proper link and download and watch the film. And we're very happy to have the next film in the Kelly Reichardt retrospective. The film is Certain Women, which released in 2016. Dr. Mahima Raj will initiate the discussion on this film. Mahima has a PhD in comparative literature from the English and Foreign Languages University, Hyderabad, and her master's degree is in English from Hyderabad University. Her doctoral thesis examines the representation of the minor in Kannada New Wave cinema, and she currently works as an assistant professor at Central University of Karnataka, Kalburgi. So over to you, Mahima. Welcome to Talking Films Online, and we're really looking forward to your discussion. Over to you, Mahima.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for including me. Am I audible? I'm just doubtful.
Yes, yes, you're audible. Please go
Thank you.
ahead. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for including me as part of this forum. And I will welcome everyone to this week's discussion as part of Kelly Reichardt's retrospective. And we are discussing Certain Women, which is a 2016 film. And Certain Women can be considered as one of the classics of Kelly Reichardt. And she's done the screenplay, direction, and also edited. And the movie is also edited by her. And the film is an adaptation of Malloy's stories from the collection Half in Love and Both Ways is the Only Way I Want It, and has received some of the most prestigious awards in almost all the crucial aspects of filmmaking. And in this film, we get to see Laura Wells, who is an attorney at Livingston, Montana, which is painted through her encounters with Mr. Fuller, who's her client, who has difficulties accepting an end for his case. And this is followed by the presentation of Gina and Ryan, who are a married couple and currently involved in building their own home. And Kelly brings out the complex dynamics of their relationship along with their meeting with Albert. And in this segment especially, there's a lot presented without too many dialogues intruding in our interpretations, I believe. And in the last segment, we have the character of Jamie, who is a rancher, and her meeting with Beth Travis, who is a teacher there, and where Jamie's desire for a human company is cut short by Beth opting out of her job as a teacher. And in the end, we see that all these characters are tied together by the place and the landscape. And Kelly's characterization of both the people and the landscape definitely invites further deliberation. And I do believe that while Certain Women is indeed about women, the question we may look into is whether or not Kelly is trying to broaden the spectrum of women as a concept, or how we understand women in general. And in this relation, we may also look at how she draws from or on the male characters in the narrative for the same purpose. And overall, we do see that there are a lot of interesting aspects. I'm just going to say a few things, and based on which you can pick whichever aspect, or you can add to all of this and continue talking about it. So there are a lot of interesting aspects of filmmaking and aesthetics that Kelly Reichardt employs. And one of the things that I think has struck me the most is the treatment of the place, which I've already mentioned, and along with it, the art of subtlety itself, like the ways in which issues of gender, class, race are presented to the audience, and the subtlety is itself highlighted in ways that we find it difficult to imagine in other movies. And another interesting thing that Kelly Reichardt does, especially in the later part of the narrative, is the way Jamie the rancher is introduced to the audience, and how it questions certain assumptions of the audience in terms of gender particularly. And off the top of my head, I can only recollect the presentation of such ambiguity in the writings of Toni Morrison in particular. And it's really interesting here how she invites the level of engagement that Kelly invites the audience to have with the images. And there are a lot many things, but I'm not supposed to take so much of your time. I am supposed to initiate. So maybe based on these points or these aspects, we can continue to build on it, I believe. So over to the others.
Okay, thanks Mahima for the short presentation highlighting both the aesthetic aspects as well as this question of gender as intersected by race, intersected by class, and so on. The film is open for discussion. Anyone who wants to come in at this point? Just to kind of begin the discussion while the others, while all of you gather your thoughts, one of the things that certainly also struck me about the film, I mean, of course, it's this unusual, narrative of three diverse women. And the seamlessness seamlessness with which the film kind of moves from one to the other, so much so that one kind of looks for the characters of the previous episode in the next one. So, and then it's it becomes something completely new. So the structuring itself, I thought, was very interesting in the film. This seamless flow of from one set of characters to the other. The second aspect that again struck me, Mahima called it the subtlety with which Kelly presents her characters, particularly some of the women characters. So much is understated and left unsaid. And there's such a mismatch between, I was thinking there's such a mismatch between certain characters and their expectations, and the absence or inability to reciprocate that on the part of other characters, men and women. So it seems like there is no major violence or cruelty or any such thing, except unmet expectations, unarticulated and mismatched expectations in these relationships. This is my own sense of the film and the characters. Anyone who wants to respond, or Mahima wants to say something in response, you're welcome to do that, Mahima.
Yes, ma'am. That's, I think Geeta ma'am was about to say something.
That's
Okay.
okay. That's okay, Mahima. If you want to say something, go ahead. I'll come in after you.
Okay, ma'am. Like you said, the seamless presentation is really interesting, especially when we are familiar with the current trend that is going on all over the world of making anthology movies and uh, presenting it in separate segments and doesn't have to be in the same place. But some anthology movies we have seen that they do try their best to tie these characters together, and somehow it feels like it's compelled or it's forced into the narrative, that kind of a connection that they would want to establish. But in this, I think the place itself is playing a major part with how we have to associate and how they have to correlate and find a connection between these varied characters but on a similar landscape, and these characters are also not really the kind that makes you remember, or the memorable kind of characters like that. That's what I feel. These are the random characters, the randomest of random characters that you see in such a space, and it actually feels like their lives is running by as it is and as it should be, and the camera is just placed there. So I got the sense out of this, and that was my experience. Is Geeta ma'am can jump in now.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, like both of you said, I think this triptych format is certainly very interesting, and uh, also the fact that the three stories in very like if you blink you miss it kind of a connection. For instance, the first story begins with this Laura, who's the lawyer, and she is in a relationship with Ryan. And in the second story, you see that he is the husband of Gina. Like this is something that can be, I think, easily missed, because there's nothing more that is said about this or anything, but at the same time it forces us to think about it, especially the fact that Gina and Ryan are building a home while their own marriage is not really the most perfect of marriages, or it rests on a very weak foundation. And similarly, this in the last section, when that Indian, that Native American girl, I forget her name, when she is coming looking for Beth, there is a scene in which Laura, very casually enters the office and then climbs up those stairs and then disappears. And you almost feel that, okay, maybe she's going to help this woman find Beth. But then, nothing of that kind happens. It is just a passing scene in which this woman enters the office and then climbs up the stairs and vanishes. So these little things I found were very interesting. And of course, that understated misogyny, the first section, a large part of that story deals with how this man is not really, serious about the lawyer's opinion, and he understands it, and it strikes him only when she takes him to a male attorney, and then it, like comes from his mouth. And frankly, personally, this was extremely relatable for me. There have been so many cases when, you get taken seriously only when you go through a male. So that kind of understated misogyny, runs through. And a very similar thing happens with Gina also when they are trying to negotiate, picking up those stones for building their home. That old man addresses only Gina's husband. He doesn't really care to talk to this woman. So that was something that I found very interesting, because it is done in such a subtle and such an understated manner. So that was something very nice. And of course, you have already spoken about the landscape. That is, no one does landscape like Kelly Reichardt. Now that we are doing a retrospective, and this is the third film that we have seen, I think that, that stark and unforgiving landscape features repeatedly in every film of hers. We have seen Wendy and Lucy, and we have seen Meek's Cut Off, and the landscape, almost takes on a character of its own in each of her films. These are some of my observations.
Mahima, you want to respond, or anyone else wants to come in now?
If anyone doesn't, yes. Yes, landscape we've seen. I haven't watched the first one, but I've seen Meek's Cut Off, and here in this film as well. We do get that sense that the place and the landscape itself is a character of its own, and it's treated that way. And with that, like how the landscape replicates the emotions, or the people, the characters themselves replicating the emotions that we feel of the place itself. It's so much in line, it's so aligned in that way. And I think it reflects in how least these characters care about anything. um, with Laura, we see that like when she has to deal with Mr. Fuller in that hostage situation, and how she gets out of it later. And we do see that her encounters with this client of hers, who she has had a client attorney relationship with for almost 8 months and beyond that as well. And they are even corresponding, they're even sharing, exchanging letters. In that sense, the beginning, you do get to see that how least she cares for her client, and she expresses a similar level of, we may call it not caring enough, we may call it it's not even, the subject, whatever she is dealing with, or whatever she comes across doesn't feel like she needs to invest so much of her mind and emotions into. And it's the same with how Ryan calls Laura and breaks up. And that's one example. And Ryan also, in the later second segment, we don't really get to view Ryan's perspective, or what Ryan thinks, especially regarding Laura. We only get to see him mentioning how he and his daughter should be nice to uh, Gina. And with that, it's not because of he wants the marriage to work. It's not because he actually loves his wife and what he feels about the other relationship also is not really shown overtly to us. He doesn't even express it in this that level of not caring enough there as well. And Gina in the end, with her smile as well, the shot where her smile is shown and she is sitting alone, and we're not sure what what she's thinking about, but still, and Gina is going through I mean, like Nicola ma'am said, it's not outright violence, it's not explicit in any sense, but she is going through some things, and even amidst that, there's a level of ignorance that she has developed, as maybe a defense mechanism, as maybe how she has chosen to deal with her life situation itself. And the character of Beth also resonates a similar kind of not caring attitude, when Beth doesn't even inform Jamie about quitting the job because of the distance. So and how harsh the climate is, and how harsh and dry the landscape is. I feel it completely takes on the characters in this manner. And if others have similar things to say or something beyond this, um, I request them to jump in now.
Anyone? Rajan, Sanjay, Sridhar, Tarakeshwar. Vijay does not seem to have his audio working.
Okay.
Anyone wants to come in?
And in connection with how much these characters care, I think Jamie is the only one to be shown as a person um, who wants to have, I mean, who has the desire, or the expression of any kind of desire in a character. I think is only presented with Jamie's character, and she goes to an extent of, I mean, driving to see Beth and staying overnight. And that's a lot that she does for a person she doesn't even know whether uh, who would reciprocate or not. So
Yeah, Rajan, you had unmuted. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I thought the Red Indian dance was very important, and it's almost like a flash dance in a mall, right? So of course it's hardly a mall, but that's exactly what I thought about when I saw it. So I want to know what has that to do with the whole film, because if we look at the last film, the native was almost without expression on his face, and except the kind of strange expression he had when you have these people use their wagon falls down and all those kind of things. But here they have the Red Indian come in, the Red Indians come in and do a dance, right? Now, what has that got to do with this blank landscape, right? How much of that influences these white settlers? I'm curious about that, because that was something interesting. And also the idea of the birds, right? And when he says these are quails, and they go, how are you? And he says, fine, okay, right? So the idea of the music of the Red Indians and the the music of the birds or nature. I think that was something that's almost the little music that there is, or the little sound that there is beside the train and other sounds.
Anything to say, Mahima?
Yes, ma'am. From what I understand, I'm not pretty sure of this interpretation, but from what I understand, that presentation of the dance is actually staged inside a mall, in a space which doesn't really seem appropriate for that kind of dance, because that dance is not meant to be showcased in that manner. The dance belongs to the space, to the landscape. That kind of a dance belongs to the people. It's supposed to be in their cultural space. It's supposed to be in their domestic space, and I think it's just a reminder uh, for um, uh, for all of us as to how much um, times have changed, and how much this representation of the Native American identity or Native American population itself has restricted itself to just an element of exhibition, and a waning out of, a sense of having that identity or that culture having waned out. I believe is presented. And if you look at, if you correlate with what Jamie does in the end, and if you make that comparison between the Native American characters and the non-Native American characters in their presentation, I think as I mentioned, Jamie is the only one to care about something. Jamie is the only one to take risks. Jamie is the only one to be ready to be hurt by someone. And I cannot really vouch for how it is in how it is presented in Meek's Cutoff, because that's an entirely different context, and it's I cannot speak about the expressionless, because the expressionless of in I mean, being expressionless, I think in that context was because there was nothing that he had to express about, or and there was the issue of language that we have to take notice of, and he is amidst these complete strangers, and the relationship between these strangers are indeed threatening, because their existence, each other's existence threatens each other. So in that context, I think I cannot uh, I think that kind of presentation of that character uh, was necessary. But on the other hand, we do see Jamie's character here, and we do witness the dance here. And does it say, like, is it in any way, I mean, the question that I want to ask is it in any way saying that the so-called American way of living uh, is filled with detachment, or or is it in some sense trying to present the Native Americanness, as opposed to the non-Native Americanness? I'm not even sure whether I can call these essences in these terms, but it's a question that I am asking after having watched the movie.
Okay, anyone wants to come in? Anyone who wants to respond at this point? Tarkeshwar, Sridhar. Are people online or have they gone offline? Sanjay? Yes, Tarkeshwar, please go ahead.
Because no one was coming forward, I thought I will chip in. So one is what I found in this movie is it begins with a moving train. I think that is one that I found even in the earlier films that we have watched. So why it begins with that? Maybe because this town where it is shot uh, itself is known for its the train movement there. That may be one. And then can we relate it to the content too? I don't know. Or the motive of the director across our films. That is one thing. And the second one is about all these stories, if we consider them as different stories, though it has been taken from the different stories, it projects certain vignettes of the suburban life in America. So in that sense, there is some kind of coherence. So we also know that the characters do appear, though they're not directly related to each other. They do appear in different stories. So, but thematically too, I think it is trying to explore some kind of expectations in the narrative which goes unfulfilled. So unrequited desire. So in the first, I don't know whether it's the desire is of the main characters in the narrative or of the audience. So that is slightly ambiguous, I think. Because in the first story, I think that Fuller, am I pronouncing his name properly? I don't know. He has a problem, so he's approaching the attorney, and we expect that it should be solved because he's really desperate. So it is affecting his family and marriage too. He trusts the lawyer, but I think this woman attorney betrays him twice. So she's addressing him and saying he's not convinced. Okay. Then she takes him to somebody who also says the same thing, or it is a setup, I don't know. And then when he takes up something on his own to address the issue, there also she betrays him, and but ultimately she visits him in the prison. So we don't know whether he was expecting her to come to his rescue and solve the case, or he doesn't know what he is expecting out of his own life. So he seems to be more or less happy in the prison too, though he says he is not happy, and there's a lot of loud noise there, and but though there is a lot of noise and he is alone. Similarly, in the second story too, the family and then the relationship with the neighbor, that comes to the fore, and that neighbor relationship, it's not like the relationship. It more like these people are also trying to take advantage of the stones that are lying there, and he is also not keen in giving it to them, but he gives it to them. And even after this exchange of goods or gifts, whatever it is, we don't know whether it has been paid or not. Still, the relationship doesn't click. We don't know whether he notices her or not. She is happy to see him and wave at him, but he doesn't. So we don't know what happens to that relationship, the neighbor's relationship. And the third one is neither the professional relationship or the neighborly relationship. It's slightly a kind of different tone altogether, though it is not articulated within the narrative what this bond between these two women is, or at least one of the character is expecting it to be. It also goes unfulfilled, or there's no response from the other side. Um, so it also goes unfulfilled. So in that sense, there's some kind of raising the expectations. I don't know whether it is of the characters or of the audience, and that expectation, that desire doesn't get fulfilled. It leaves you in a lurching, uh, wanting for something, but you didn't get it. It leaves you with that kind of bitter taste at the end. So, and of course, the intersectionality of identities also comes through, both in terms of class and race. That is also worth exploring. I think I will stop here.
Okay, thank you, Tarkeshwar. Mahima, any response?
Yes, that in that sense, of course, we may get a sense that it is leaving a bitter taste by the end of the at the end of the film. But however, if we, I mean, I think that's a problem with our expectations. And if we look at how the characters themselves are receiving this, like I mentioned, Laura says she's okay to have a relationship with exchanging letters, and she doesn't have any problems with it, and she says oh, okay for it, and that's how we. I mean, that's the last encounter we see, and then she's back to work, and she is back to her routine life. And then we, in the second segment, we see um, Gina sitting by herself, smoking, and she also has a smile in the end. And we also see Jamie's character having come back, having driven back to her ranch, and she also gets back to her routine. And of course, while in the scene that she in the immediate shot where she says bye to Beth and begins to drive, we do see that she is sad, and she has, I mean, we do get a sense that she has not thought this through, and but she doesn't have an option. Even with that, we don't get to see her wailing over it. And I'm not saying that she should, but she gets back to her routine. And the next scene, we see that it's a duplication of how she was, almost a duplication of how she was introduced to us in the beginning. And with that being the case, with three of these characters, and the movie, the film, chosen to end with these kind of emotions, I have a different sense. It doesn't leave a bitter taste in the end for me. It actually feels a lot real, and feels like these people are continuing to do their jobs, these people are continuing to live their lives, these people are not spending their feelings and emotions on the things that have happened immediately, in their immediate past to them, and having not having, or not giving that space, or not showing them to be concerned about it, not showing them to be worried or wondering what they should be doing regarding this, and no quandary or qualms that they present about their emotions itself. I think is not it's not sweet, entirely sweet. It is somewhere in between. It's not, I mean, for me it's not completely bitter also, but it leaves that scope for continuity, and a continuity without having affected their lives in a major way. So that's how I feel, and I would like to know how others feel about this as well.
Anyone would like to respond? Any response?
Yeah, I would think that what is actually happening if we take transactional analysis and look at it. So these people are by and large working with the rational and not giving in to the emotion, except for the man who is in trouble in the first part, right? So I think this idea of practicality and rationality and the cold logic of the landscape all fit together, right? And that's a kind of some kind of a binding force over there. And yeah, I don't know whether anybody is moved with emotion, and this emotionlessness I think is quite interesting with the landscape. Yeah, and the first man stands out, right? He breaks down and he says, oh, I'm in a mess and I'm crying. And these other people are tough people. They go on with life in spite of all the nonsense that it has, right?
Yeah, anyone else?
A quick response. This going on with life, I don't know. Yes, they're going on with life because there's no other option. But I don't see it as a kind of continuity or change, because it looks like the entire characters and the town and its surroundings is frozen in time. What the Orientalists say about the Asian villages, that in the pre-modern world, nothing happened there. In that sense, nothing happens there. So the little drama that happens in the first story, that is also fizzled out. It doesn't become a big news. See, in that sense, there's a lot of contrast between these rural, suburban America and the America that we come across, which is technologically advanced, too busy, there's no time for anything. There are films even which are set in the urban, where we see the victims of this fast changing society who couldn't fit into this and then alienated from that. There are films about that too. But here I think even the earlier movie that we watched about Lucy and her dog, there too, I think
Wendy and
it's almost like Wendy and Lucy. So it looks like a stagnant one. Nothing is happening there. Not much changes. There's no speed at all. Very slow moving. Yeah, I don't know how to understand this picture of America that comes across in these movies, which are quite opposite to the Hollywood movies that we watch.
yeah, any response?
The thing is, to this day, you will still find these kind of places there. It's just that, we don't, outside of America, we don't get to see and hear about such places, but they are there. And Reichardt although she was born in Florida, she grew up in Oregon mostly, and large parts of Oregon are like this, and that's why I think she is familiar with this, with life here, and with although of course she now teaches in New York, and divides her time between Portland and New York. But this is this is the kind of landscape that she is most familiar with, and I think that's the reason she sets her stories here. Her films are set in these locations. But yeah, there are places like this even to this day.
Choosing to set films in these kind of spaces, that I think is an interesting question, because then you're able to explore certain uh, themes and also certain emotions which we may not find articulated in the same way in let's say mainstream Hollywood movies. For instance, again and again, I keep coming back to this, understatement. The sense that we get in each of the three episodes, in each of these three diverse stories, and what Mahima is talking about, and Tarakeshwar was talking about, as if life goes on in an unchanging fashion. Like we saw in Meek's Cutoff too, the end in these films don't seem to matter at all. As in Wendy and Lucy, does she reach where she wants to go? Does not seem to matter. What happens in the course of the journey? These could be, perceived as minor blips, but they could be as well pretty. Pretty uncomfortable, difficult feelings, emotions to be living through, to be going through. And yet, these are still, cinematically still not very well articulated elsewhere. So, in that sense, it seems like they are novel attempts at kind of, exploring these emotions in a very different kind of a landscape. So, there is no heroic protagonist who is going to win it all in the end. These are just people, Mahima mentioned how ordinary they are, random people, ordinary people with nothing life-changing or, history, they don't change the course of history. Nothing like that happens. So the everydayness of these characters is what I think comes across so interestingly in these films. Anyone else want
Yeah,
to?
Nikhila.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, in all these three films, including the last one, Certain Women, Wendy and Lucy and Meek's Cutoff. So there is a lot of open space. And in the first film, Wendy and Lucy, the film starts with the trains, like trains going in different directions. Again, in this one also, I found that the train is coming and it takes time, and then after that there is whistling. So train is still there. So overall, if we see, there is a lot of displacement in the space. In the first one, which we saw, Wendy and Lucy, she is of course on the journey. She is going to Alaska, and she meets these like gypsy people. They are there, and then on her way she loses her dog. So what happens in the journey, that is shown. And again, Meek's Cutoff, the film is completely about the journey only. They're just moving in the space, and they're also looking for some place where they can settle down. But they keep on going, and whatever happens in the journey, we get a glimpse of that, and the movement is there, like in the space. And in this one, I found in certain women, particularly in the last one, where you have the teacher. She's coming from a far off place to teach there. And again, when the class is over, it shows 9 o'clock, she has to go back. So this, she is covering a lot of distance to come here, and then she has to go back to her place. So overall, in these three films, I found a lot of open space is projected, and in that open space, a lot of movement or displacement is projected. But particularly for this film, I don't know what is the importance of the train, because it comes in the beginning, but I couldn't understand the significance, how it is related to the plot or anything else. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sanjay. Anyone wants to respond now? Okay.
I think I want to
Yeah.
take on from where Tarkesh made a very important statement. Could it be that it's actually showing a conservative America, right? Which is not the America which is always changing all the time, and is showing that people have got used to certain kinds of ways of living. And this is something that we don't see. It's showing another side where nothing changes, nothing moves, and people have become conservative, right? In some senses. And what is interesting about all the three movies is the silence which speaks. I think silence is a character which comes across, and the idea of the silence and what it does to human personality. And like in any rural setting, I would think that people settle down mentally and don't expect too much, right? Like you have in the cities, right? So I think that's something also that that's how I respond to these three movies, right? Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
I think with the question about the train, I think I was also thinking in line with Rajan sir, as what he said about conservative society, and I think it also reflects in terms of how much this, I mean, how much of investment is done by the American government or American society in general for this landscape, or for these places, the Western, the so-called Western and the earlier frontiers spaces. And I think the train reflects that conservatism in a sense, is to it's not an advanced train that we get to see. It's not, although this movie is set in almost contemporary period, the train itself signifies that on the one hand, of course, the world on the other end is changing, and we are aware of that world. And on the other hand, we have this space or this landscape and this part of the country wherein there are some elements of modernity along with it, the residual elements of conservatism, all other things do have a predominant presence in their lives. So I was also reading it in this sense.
I think the train has more symbolic value than anything that is one can think of in the literal sense, because a train represents journey, and what we see are the journeys of these three women and the three stories and their movements, and just like how different compartments of a train link up with each other to move towards a common to a single destination. There are these different stories also that seem in one way or the other linked, if not in terms of plot, but at least in terms of the thematic of the film. So I think the film begins with this image of the train to kind of set the tone for the film as something that has to do with journey, something that has to do with linkages. That's how I read the train.
No, these trains are without people. So many of them are actually goods trains. So they carry goods. So
Yes.
you don't see people there, but there is a movement of goods that is happening.
Yes, these are all good trains. Even in Wendy and Lucy, she jumps into the compartment of a good train. That's right. Yeah.
Generally, a train and the platform and the station, we associate with a lot of buzzing activities. But here, there's nothing. It's only movement of trains and people.
Yes. But at the same time, it is kind of, crossing many states and moving somewhere. So it is a journey of thought.
And also, I saw that in the class when the teacher is talking about the rights of students, and that you cannot expel a student unless you have to justify it. You have to give reasons. This Native American says that she was not aware of this kind of rights given to students. Whether there are students' rights also, she didn't know. And when in general she asked in the class that do you know anything about school laws, and then students say that no, we don't know anything. So that also shows that it's not the America which is confident, all-knowing, and all modern, but also this element, whether we call it conservative element, manifests itself in this kind of conversation.
No, in fact, some of those students are against student rights. They say, what about the teacher? If they create problems for the teacher. So in that sense, those law students are more for the rights of the teachers than the students. That's how they come across there in the class.
Yeah. Any other point to be made?
About the train and the school scene. I think it's also in some sense indicating an estrangement, like how this place doesn't have the kind of the kind of influence. It's not influenced by the other world. It's disconnected. It's isolated. With the train scene, we see that it's not the movement of people. It's not connecting people. It's not for that purpose, and it's entirely economical in nature, or it's entirely for business purpose alone. So that and with the how much these students don't know about the laws that are presumed to be known by everyone in general, and these set of people um, don't constitute that category of everyone, or don't constitute that the so-called general category, or everybody who's so-called American should be knowing so and so things about these laws, being a law student. And so that it is in some sense indicating estrangement, I feel. um, that's it about it. If anyone wants to continue, you can chip in now.
Anything else to say? Okay. If there's no more response to the film, I think we can end the discussion by thanking Mahima. Thanks, Mahima, for setting the tone for the discussion today. And thank you all for participating. We have one more film to go in the Kelly Reichardt retrospective. We'll watch it the coming week and then join for discussion next Saturday. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mahima. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.